Hello, and welcome to Candidates Up Front. This is a public interest election program of Berks Community Television and the League of Women Voters of Berks County. I'm Judith Cranus. Our May 20th municipal primary election is fast approaching. Democrats and Republicans will select their candidates for judges, school directors, and township, borough, and city officials. This is the election where Democrats and Republicans choose the candidates who will represent them on the November ballot. However, when there is a question on the ballot, as there is in the Kutztown School District, all registered voters in that district vote on the question. It's not just Democrats and Republicans. Any registered voter should come and vote. To check your voting status, you can go online to vote.pa.gov. And that is the official state Pennsylvania website. It's a government site, very safe. And there you can register to vote. You can change your party. You can locate your polling place, or you can apply for an absentee or mail-in ballot. And the deadline to register is May 5th. The deadline to apply for a mail-in ballot is May 13th. Now, the League, in its part, is interviewing those candidates who want to be interviewed in the contested races. For each race, the candidates will get the same basic questions and have the same amount of time to answer them. Let's begin.
Hello and welcome. My name is Kay Herring, and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Berks County. Today, the featured race is county coroner. The coroner's chief duty is to investigate all sudden, unexpected, unexplained, or violent deaths occurring within the county. In cases of deaths which have possibly resulted from a criminal act or neglect, the coroner may conduct an inquest and call witnesses. The coroner may employ a physician to conduct autopsies. The current salary for a coroner is $101,694,000. Coroners serve a 4-year term. On the ballot in May, there are 2 Republican candidates, and they will be John Fielding and Matt Stitzel. Today, our candidate is Matt Stitzel. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Kay.
So let's start off by, if you could please tell our viewers in general about yourself and why are you running for county coroner?
Sure. Thank you, Kay. My name's Matt Stitzel. I am running for the coroner's office this year for Berks County. I'm born and raised in Berks County. I grew up in Lincoln Park in Spring Township, where I currently live with my wife and 4 children. Why I'm running for office? I'm running for office to bring compassion to the office, the compassion I get from my current employment, which is a funeral director, and taking that same compassion I use at work and bringing that to the Berks County residents and being able to share that with the office and the residents.
Great, thank you. If you wouldn't mind, can you tell us a little bit more about your education and your background and why your particular background is important in this position?
Sure. I'm a graduate of a Holy Name High School in 1988. I graduated from Wilkes University in Wilkes-Barre in 1992 with a communications degree, and then furthered my education at Simmons Institute in Syracuse, New York, with a degree in applied sciences, which is what I needed for my funeral director's license, which I currently am. I'm a licensed funeral director here in Berks County.
Great. And if you are elected as coroner, share with us maybe 3 things or so that you would like to accomplish in that office.
Sure. Some of the changes that I've noticed would be some inefficiencies in the office. I'd like to go to an on-demand billing in the office where currently the office bills quarterly, which leaves the receivables out there in the open for the county. I think it's better for the county residents to have their tax dollars back into the county hands. So by going to an on-demand billing cycle, it gets that money there faster. Secondly, I think the office can benefit from some true leadership. I know the current administration views this position as an administrative position. I do not. I find the office to be too small and too intimate to be carried out as just an administrator. There's a spiritual phrase that's used that says the shepherd should smell like their sheep. And I live by that and like using that. I like to be up front and I like to lead from the front. There isn't anything I would never ask an employee to do for me that I haven't done or wouldn't do for myself.
Great. So this is a two-part question, and you can answer it together. How does the coroner's role differ from police work? And is the coroner's office a law enforcement agency?
The coroner's office and the police department work side by side on all crime scenes, whether it's accident, suicide, undetermined. They're always working side by side on those. But we have two different roles. The police department is an investigative role for crime, so their job is enforcement of those crimes. My job as coroner would be my medical investigation. So we're investigators on the medical side. Our job is to merely find the cause and manner of death of that decedent.
And tell us about the coroner's staff. What jobs do they do? What kind of special training is needed, if any? And do deputy coroners need special education? If you know, can share anything with our viewers and myself about the number of staff you have. Do you need more or less? And what's the situation?
Sure. It's because I'm not in the office currently, I don't know the exact numbers or the size, but there are around a dozen employees in there. There are some part-time positions that I believe right now aren't filled, and a lot of full-time. The deputies all do go through training, and they are required to do that to learn exactly what they need to do in that office. And that training is continual. It's always going on, and they're constantly up to with police, working with police at the same time to make sure everybody's doing their job the right way.
Do they need to have any special background, however, to be a deputy? Do you need training, a background in something specific before you go through training?
They do not need any special background when they come in. The training is all done in the coroner's office.
Okay, great. Does the coroner then also do the same training as the deputy?
Actually, this part was the most shocking part for me when I called the HR department in the county to find out exactly. I was looking for the job description of the elected coroner, only to find out that there is no job description. So literally there's nothing that I have to do or be trained in to hold that office. But as I said earlier, is leading from the front side, it's something I would want to do. So you would count on me to be trained and get educated to do the same work as the deputies is what I plan to do.
Okay. And how does a coroner decide whether it is or isn't necessary to go to a scene to actually look at a body?
Every death that's not a natural death is going to be investigated by the coroner's office. So with 3,600 deaths, give or take, going through the county, it is a lot of deaths, and we do have a large staff to be able to do that and handle all those. It depends on where the death happens, how it happens, decides on when the coroner goes out. Like for instance, if someone's under hospice care at home and the death occurs, the hospice nurse merely makes a phone call to our office, and the office would approve that nurse to be able to release the body to a local funeral home. Any body that's not under care, under the doctor's care within the last 24 hours, would definitely need to be viewed by the coroner, deputies, and investigators inside that office.
What was the number you said? How many deaths happen in the county or that the coroner is involved in?
About 3,600 a year.
Wow, something that I didn't know, so interesting. Thank you. So on to more about when someone does die. If a crime is suspected in relation to the death, the police also have a responsibility at the death scene. So when the police and the coroner are sharing jurisdiction, how will you determine who is in charge?
I would rather work side by side with the police than try to fight over whose scene it is. It's both of our scenes, and you can squabble over me being in charge or you being in charge all day. It still doesn't get us to take care of who we need to take care of, which is the decedent. So the only thing I would ask is, if you're there first, preserve the scene for me. If we're there first, we preserve the scene for you. But we have to work side by side. If we don't, it's a complete waste of taxpayers' money and time.
So let's talk about autopsies. I note for our viewers that an autopsy is a medical examination of a body by a pathologist. How will you determine whether an autopsy is necessary? And then sort of a follow-up question to that is the coroner's budget, which is set by county commissioners, part of that decision. Is that something that you would have to take into account when you actually order an autopsy?
The autopsies will be determined by the deputies and the investigators whether or not they deem one necessary. But on top of that, if the DA's office would like to have one, they would decide that as well as the police department. So again, that whole episode on whether we autopsy or not would be an effort between all branches of whether it's the police department, the DA's office, or us. The budgetary concerns are always there when you're using taxpayer money to figure out what to do, but I don't think the budget should come into play when we're trying to get the right answer and come up with the right result. I don't think you can pinch pennies when it comes to that. We have to be right.
And another area that the coroner gets involved in is a coroner has the power to call an inquest. Again, I think for viewers, inquest may be something that we've heard about, but we don't really know a whole lot about that. So the coroner can subpoena people to present evidence in a death case. Why would that be necessary? And under what circumstances maybe would an inquest be called? Maybe you can educate us a little bit more about that area.
Sure. When a coroner calls an inquest, it's typically under something that happened where it's foul play. Accidents can require an inquest where you need more witnesses and people to come in and testify. A lot of the inquests more so are events that have a lot of public interest. So an inquest that would make sense would be some suspect that died in police custody, someone that died in a jail, someone that died suddenly while in custody is certainly one that would necessitate having an inquest.
Is the coroner the only person who would actually call for an inquest? I mean, that is the job of the coroner and that office?
The coroner's office can call an inquest. I don't know what other offices and what their duties are and whether or not they're allowed to or how they call inquests. I'm sure the DAs have their own ability to do that as well as the police departments.
Okay, thank you. The coroner, of course, is dealing with families at a very bleak moment. They've just lost a loved one. What is the appropriate role of the coroner and deputies in dealing with families, and how will you train or support your staff with what you feel that they need in order to do this?
Well, my experience when I started as I was a firefighter and an engineer for a long time with West Lawn, Wyomissing Hills Fire Department. So I saw death on that side. And then I've been a funeral director for the last 32 years, taking care of thousands of Berks County residents. So I think I'm uniquely qualified for this office because of my compassion, because of my integrity, things that I can bring to the office. I think I have a lot to learn from the deputies and investigators that are in that office now, but I think I have just as much to share with them to get the office where it needs to be, to have that soft handoff from the notification all the way to the funeral home. And there's different things in place that I'd like to put as far as that leadership role goes in being able to get the deputies and the coroner's office, the investigators, to have that soft handoff to the funeral directors and take the families with them to get that done, to make sure there's not a full stop somewhere in there where there's a break of care, where we have a continuum of care all the way through from start to finish, from notification to burial.
And then since you were talking about your staff and the deputies, I did sort of skip over a question earlier about the deputies, but you're talking about the staff and how important they would be. Talk about maybe the qualifications in what you would look for in hiring staff and the deputies. I mean, what types of characteristics or a background do you think that they would need to be helpful in this type of job?
The deputies need a ton of qualifications. None of them have anything to do really with education, more so about themselves. Your attention to detail, your interpersonal skills are important, your critical thinking is important, your patience is important, your integrity is hugely important, is what we're looking for. So a lot of stuff has nothing to do with education and more about the person.
Great. We have time for you to make a closing statement if you'd like to reiterate again why you're running for office, or if there are other things that we haven't talked about. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Matt.
Again, my name is Matt Stitzel. I'm running for coroner's office of Berks County on May 20th. I would appreciate your vote on that day. I am running for this office to fill a void in the office that I believe currently is there, not just with bringing my compassion that I've learned and shared with Berks County residents for the last 32 years, but I'd like to bring it to the office and bring it to the residents across this county. I'd also like to bring a little bit more of efficiency to the office. I know the current administration would like to keep the status quo in the office. I'd like to change that. And I think you can start that with billing. With having such a large budget, there's a lot of room in there for flexibility of things we can do to save money for the county and not spend as much as we currently do. I have the time and the energy to hold this office as well. The timing of my running for this office was my age is good, my health is good, my infrastructure at my funeral homes is good. The family business will do fine with me being in this office. I know one of the questions has been that I have a conflict of interest and I shouldn't run for office because of that conflict. To settle people on that conflict of interest, I've already talked to some county officials about bringing body cams into our office and having all the deputies wear body cams. Not just for me, for that perceived look at a conflict of interest, but also for accountability for the office. Our office is extremely exposed that the deputies go into homes by themselves. They're alone a lot by themselves. It's a great way to cover ourselves at the office, to be more transparent, which is what we want. But a conflict of interest, I think you can have in any job you have. There's a conflict of interest. It's your integrity that determines how you're going to handle that conflict and which direction you're going to take that. So I do appreciate your vote on May 20th, and I appreciate your time. Thank you, Kay.
Well, thank you. This has been Matt Stitzel, and he is sharing his views with us about why he was running for county coroner in the upcoming primary race. Please remember there is another Republican candidate for coroner, John Fielding. This is a program put on through BCTV and the League of Women Voters of Berks County. You will find candidates upfront interviews on BCTV and its website and their YouTube page. For more information about anyone who is running for office, you can go to the League's online voters guide, vote411.org. That's vote411.org. Friend, for more information on election procedures, who is running for office, you can also contact the Berks County Election Services. Their phone number is 610-478-6490. I can remind you that on May 20th, there's a municipal primary election that is coming up, and Democrats and Republicans select candidates for judges, school directors, township, borough, and city officials. This is an election where Democrats and Republicans choose their candidates for the November ballot. However, if there is a question on the ballot, as there is in Kutztown School District, all registered voters in the Kutztown School District may vote on that question. To check your voting status, you can go online to vote.pa.gov, and you can register, change your party, locate your polling place, apply for an absentee or mail-in ballot. The deadline to register for this election is May 5th, and the deadline to apply for a mail-in ballot is May 13th. Thank you again to Matt Stitzel, who is running for county coroner as a Republican, and thank you for watching Candidates Up Front.